Very good morning to all. I hope you are doing great. I'm also good. Very warm welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Reena and I am so happy to have you here. In today's video, we are going to talk about these topics: sampling and sampling design, what is the basic concept of sampling, and steps in sampling process. So let's understand these topics thoroughly one by one. So first topic we have sampling. So basically, sampling is a fundamental aspect of research that involves selecting a subset of individuals, items, or observations from a large population to analyze and draw conclusions. Since the studying an entire population is often impractical due to time, cost, and logistical constraint, researchers rely on sampling to make inferences about the whole population based on the selected sample. Basically, sampling is a well designed and sampling strategy ensures that the collected data accurately represents the population, leading to valid and reliable research finding. Okay, so let's understand this with the help of an example. Let's take an example of Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh has a 12 district, and Himachal Pradesh is considered as a population, whole population, and we want to take a sample from the Himachal Pradesh. So according to the logic that we take only three districts, okay, which have the highest population. Let's Kangra, Mandi, and Shimla. We take three districts out of the whole population out of the whole Himachal Pradesh. So that we take the three districts, that is called sample, and Himachal Pradesh is a population, and that sample is represent the whole population. That means the whole Himachal Pradesh. So this is called the population and sampling, and it's very important to aware about this thing. Like, we can't consider everything. We can't take every person from Himachal Pradesh because of these reasons, because we don't have that much of time, as well as we don't have that much of money to invest on research. So so be aware about these factors, and accordingly do a research on a particular subject or particular topic. Next, we have the basic concept of sampling and sampling design. So basically, let's understand about the population. Population is the entire set of individuals or items that possesses the characteristics of interest in a study. It is the group about which the researcher want to draw conclusion. So I already give you an example of Himachal Pradesh. So Himachal Pradesh is represent as a whole population. Next, we have sample, a subset of the population that is selected for analysis. That means, in the last example, we have taken the three district out of whole Himachal Pradesh. So this is called a sample. A sample should be representative of the population to ensure the validity of the study conclusion. Next, we have the sampling frame. Sampling frame is the list or database of all units in the population from which a sample will be drawn. It should be comprehensive, up to date, and free from duplication or omission error. Next, we have sampling unit. Sampling unit is an individual element or group of elements considered for selection in a study. For example, in a survey of household, each household could be sampling unit. And in the different district, we take a sample of male and female. Okay, so this is called the sampling unit. Next, we have the sampling design. Sampling design refers to the strategy used to select units from the population. It involves the decision on sample size, method of selection, and techniques to minimize errors. So next topic, we have the types of sampling. So basically, sampling methods are broadly classified into two categories. Okay, so before understanding this one, let's understand this table first. So in this table, you can clearly see that there is a comparison between the probability sampling and non-probability sampling. So this is the definition of probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is it is a sampling technique where every unit has a known and equal chance of being selected. And in case of non-probability sampling, where selection is based on subjective judgment, not randomization. Basis of selection for probability sampling, where random selection ensures each unit has an equal chance. And in case of non-probability sampling, selection is based on convenience, judgment, or quota requirement. And on the basis of generalizability, a result can be generalized to the entire population in case of probability sampling. And in case of non-probability sampling, result cannot be confidently generalized due to the potential bias. On the basis of bias, the low bias due to the randomization in case of probability sampling, and in case of non-probability sampling, there is a high risk of bias due to the subjective selection. On the basis of accuracy, probability sampling is more accurate and representative of the population. And in case of non-probability sampling, it is less accurate as it may not truly represent the population. On the basis of use case, it is suitable for large scale and quantitative research. And in case of non-probability sampling, it is used in exploratory, quantitative, or small scale studies. On the basis of complexity, probability sampling is more complex, required proper sampling frames. And in case of non probability sampling used in, it is very simple and easier to implement, and it is used in exploratory. So these are the types of sampling: probability sampling and non probability sampling. In probability sampling, these probability are come under the probability sampling, like simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling. These kind of sampling that comes under the probability sampling. And these are the types of non-probability sampling: convenience sampling, judgment or purposive sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling. So let's understand these types in thoroughly. So basically, in probability sampling, there are five type of sampling. First one, we have simple random sampling. Simple random sampling, which means every unit in the population has a equal chance of being selected. For example, lottery method or random number generator. Next, we have systematic sampling. That means the first unit is selected randomly and subsequent units are chosen at regular interval, and for example, every fifth person from a list. Next, we have stratified sampling, which means the population is divided into subgroups, that we can call it strata, based on the certain characteristics, and random samples are taken from each stratum. Next, we have cluster sampling. Cluster sampling, which means the population is divided into cluster. An entire cluster are randomly selected for study. Next, we have multi-stage sampling. Multi-stage sampling is the combination of two or more probability sampling method used in a large scale studies. So, next type of sampling, we have non-probability sampling. And here, four type of sampling comes under the non-probability. First, we have convenience sampling. Second, we have judgment sampling. Third, we have quota sampling. Fourth, we have snowfall sampling. Okay, so let's understand these one by one. First, we have convenience sampling, which means the selecting individuals who are readily available. For example, serving student in a nearby college. And next we have judgment sampling, which means the researcher select participant based on expertise or specific characteristics. Next we have quota sampling. A certain number of individuals from different categories are chosen to ensure representation. Next, we have snowball sampling, which means the existing participant recruit new participants, often used in studies involving hard to reach population. Next, we have steps in sampling process. So these are the steps in the sampling process. First, we have define the population, determine the sampling frame, choose the sampling method, and after that determine the sampling size, implement the sampling plan. Apart from that, we have checked the sampling error and bias, as well as analyze the data and make inferences. Moreover, report and interpret result. So let's understand one by one. So basically, first step is define the problem, which means the first step is to clearly define the target population, specifying its characteristics, geographic scope, and any inclusion or exclusion criteria. A well defined population ensures that the findings are relevant and applicable. Next, we have determined the sampling frame. That means sampling frame is created to list all possible elements in the population, and this could be a list of employees, registered voters, and customers of a company. And accuracy of a sampling frame affect the quality of the sample. Next step we have choose the sampling method, which means which means the researcher select either probability or non-probability sampling based on the study objective, feasibility, and available resources. If generalization to the entire population is needed, probability sampling is preferred. And if exploratory research is conducted or a specific group is targeted, non probability sampling may be suitable. Next, we have determine the sample size. Basically, the sample size depend on the factors such as population size, required level of precision, confidence level, acceptance margin of error. A large sample generally lead to more accurate result, but it requires more resources, and researchers use formula or software like SPSS to calculate the optimum sample size. Next step we have implement the sampling plan, which means the once the sampling method is decided and the sample size is determined, researchers begin data collection. The process must be carefully managed to avoid bias and ensure randomness. Next step we have check for sampling error and bias. In case of sampling error, differences between the sample and the population due to the random selection. This can be minimized by increasing the sample size. Next we have non-sampling error, that means the errors arises from incorrect data collection, response bias, or faulty sampling frame. So in that case, researchers should test for biases and correct any discrepancies before data analysis. Next step we have analyze and data make inferences. So after data collection, statistical technique are used to analyze the sample data and generalize finding to the population, hypothesis testing, regression analysis, and other statistical method helps in drawing valid conclusion. Next step we have report and interpret result. Finally, researchers present their finding, highlighting how the sample represent the population, and they discuss the limitation, sources of bias, and implications of future research. So come to the conclusion of this video, where we already talked about sampling, And types of sampling. So basically, sampling is a crucial component of research that enables researchers to study a subset of population to draw meaningful conclusions. A well structured sampling process minimizes error and ensures the findings are reliable and applicable to the broader population. By carefully selecting the sampling method, determining the appropriate sample size, and minimizing bias, researchers can enhance the accuracy and validity of their studies. So that is all about for the today's video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care. Have a nice day. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep signing. If you like this video, then do like and comment on this video, and also subscribe my channel. Bye bye.